B2B Cambodia, the portal for business use in Cambodia.
This is Anthony Galliano for B2B Cambodia. I'm very fortunate today to be interviewing Matt Smith, who is Director of Research, so a very qualified person to talk about the capital markets. He works for Yuanta Securities, and we're going to discuss the Vietnam economy and the capital markets today. Well, Matt, if you could give us a little background of where you're from, a little bit about your career and education, so we could get to know you a little better.
Sure. My name is Matthew. I'm originally from Massachusetts. I went to the University of Massachusetts, graduated in 1991 with a history degree, and decided after a couple of years of applying to law school and deferring actually going to law school to decide to do something a little bit more adventurous. So I got on an airplane and I went to Asia in 1995. And I kind of never came back. I did journalism for a few years, primarily in Taiwan, focusing on business, which morphed into a job in finance. And so I've been in the financial industry for about 22 years now.
So Yuanta Securities is in the region. What are the typical products that Yuanta offer?
So Yuanta is, I would say, the largest capital markets facing financial institution in Taiwan. The reason why I say capital markets facing is because its DNA is really in stockbroking. The company itself started in 1963 in Taiwan. It's now on the third generation of its leaders, and it has since branched out into other aspects of finance. So it's not only a broker, it also has a bank. It has an insurance company and a very large asset management business in Taiwan. In fact, we're the largest asset manager in Taiwan. Other than Taiwan, of course, the company a few years ago decided that it wanted to regionalize. So it's picked up subsidiaries in Korea, South Korea. Of course, we've got a big business in Hong Kong. Outside of Northeast Asia, we're also present in Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia. We've also got a bank in the Philippines, and of course, we've got a subsidiary in Cambodia.
I understand you were involved with the Acleda IPO, Acleda being the largest share of trading on the Cambodia Stock Exchange. So we hope to see you, Yuanta, doing more in Cambodia. But getting to the capital markets, we have 11 stocks, and the market actually is really in its infancy. We do about $100,000 to $200,000 a day total value trade. So the interesting story for us is how Vietnam started as a small market, and I believe you're up to $800 million to $1 billion a day now in trading.
Correct.
So how did Vietnam evolve from a small market, and what are some of the lessons Cambodia can learn?
I think in 2001, it was when the stock markets were officially launched, and for the first, I would say, 5 or 6 years, there were really just two stocks that mattered here, both state-owned enterprises, one of which is still a substantial component of the index, which is Vinamilk. So what does Vinamilk do? They're the largest dairy product manufacturer and distributor in Vietnam. They still are today. Great company. The other example was an agricultural company called, the acronym is Hagel, H-A-G-L, which again is still listed, but is a lot less relevant today following the crisis of 2008 to 2012. After the Asian financial crisis in the 90s, the Vietnam dong devalued, just like all currencies around the region did. And the government decided to liberalize, which is great. So they opened up the stock market. They issued new licenses for financial services. So there were a bunch of new joint stock commercial banks that didn't exist previously that suddenly came into existence, and these were private sector led organizations. The issue was, I think, that the light regulation was a little bit too light. And in fact, what ended up happening was there was a huge bubble driven by credit expansion. The new JSC banks came in, and loans were across the system were expanding by 20 to 30% between, say, 2002 and 2008. Note to any regulators who are watching, you can't have your entire system expanding by 20, 30% every year without having a bubble and without eventually having some kind of financial crisis, which did occur in Vietnam. Basically, the whole thing crashed. The banking system was in a crisis, I would argue, for probably 6 years, between 2008 and 2014. Since 2014, the central bank especially, but also the regulators overall in Vietnam, have been much more, I guess, prudent in their approach to how they're regulating the financial services industry and the banks especially. Pretty much since 2014, there's also been a big push by the authorities to equitize. So there's been a lot more IPOs. More stocks coming onto the market. So it went from 50 million to sort of 200, 300 million between 2016 and 2018. Foreigners were very interested in this market, seeing it as the next Asian tiger economy that's finally starting to emerge from the kind of the post-war central planning, followed by this credit bubble in the early 2000s, and now things are starting to look better. And here comes some great companies that are IPOing.